Welcome to a day in the life of Xiao Bao, a magnificent giant panda, nestled deep within his natural serene habitat. As the first rays of dawn touch the forest, a new day begins for our playful friend, filled with discovery and delight. Waking from a peaceful slumber, Xiao Bao stretches, shaking off the last vestiges of sleep with a charming, sleepy yawn. His morning ritual starts with a gentle exploration as he surveys his surroundings, ready for the day's first adventure. The quest for breakfast is serious business. He carefully chooses the freshest bamboo, a true connoisseur of his favorite meal. With incredible precision, his paws strip the leaves, and the satisfying crunch of bamboo fills the quiet morning air. After breakfast, it's time for some fun. Xiao Bao eyes a tall tree, eager to test his climbing skills. A mix of grace and playful clumsiness. He might stumble, but his spirit is unwavering. Every climb is an adventure, showcasing his surprising agility. Down on the ground, the world is his playground. A simple roll or a playful bat brings immense joy to our furry friend. Even the smallest details capture his attention. A delicate flower offers a moment of quiet curiosity and gentle exploration. A fleeting butterfly becomes a captivating spectacle, holding his gaze in a moment of serene observation. A true nature lover. And for pure, unadulterated fun, nothing beats a good panda roll. Down the slope he goes, a fluffy ball of joy. After a morning of activity, it's time for a leisurely lunch. He savors each bite, enjoying the quiet rhythm of the forest. His peaceful demeanor is infectious. With every chew, he reminds us to appreciate the simple pleasures of life. Soon, the call of a midday nap becomes irresistible. He finds the perfect spot, nestled in the cool shade of a giant tree. In the tranquility of his dreams, he twitches and murmurs, a gentle reminder of his playful spirit, even in slumber. As the sun begins its descent, painting the forest in hues of gold, Xiao Bao stirs, ready for a final, light snack. With the final, heartwarming glance directly into the camera, he shares a moment of connection, a silent thank you for joining his day. He settles back down, preparing for another night of rest, reminding us of the simple beauty and wonder of nature. May his peaceful existence inspire us all to cherish and protect the incredible wildlife that shares our planet.
Okay, so when you think of the giant panda, what comes to mind? Probably this cute, cuddly global icon, right? A symbol of conservation. But what if I told you that this animal is also a massive evolutionary puzzle? A living, breathing contradiction that pretty much throws the rules of survival out the window. Today, we're going to dig into the panda paradox. So, that brings up the big question. Is this the world's strangest bear? I mean, on the surface, it seems like just a gentle bamboo muncher. But once you start digging into its biology, its diet, its whole history, you realize you're looking at a complete evolutionary outlier, a real weirdo of the animal kingdom, in the best way possible.
And this right here, this is the heart of the whole paradox. On one hand, you've got its anatomy, which just screams carnivore. Seriously, its digestive system, built for meat. Its teeth, sharp, made for tearing flesh. It even has the instincts of a predator hardwired into its brain. But then you look at its lifestyle, and it's the total opposite. It lives this slow, methodical life, and it's all about eating bamboo. It's a carnivore that just gave up being a carnivore. So how on earth is that even possible?
Well, that exact contradiction is what we're tackling first. It's a huge evolutionary puzzle. How did a predator, a card-carrying member of the order Carnivora, no less, decide to just give up meat and dedicate its life to eating plants?
Okay, so to really get the panda, you have to understand this idea of a specialist species. Think about it this way. You have generalists, like raccoons, right? They can eat anything, live anywhere, they're the jack of all trades. A specialist, though, is the opposite. It's an expert, but in a very, very narrow field. The panda went all in on bamboo. this super tough, low-nutrient food that basically no other animal wanted. By doing that, it avoided all competition and created its own little kingdom. It's pretty much the ultimate specialist.
And that specialization really all comes down to its diet. It's all bamboo, all the time. Which, you guessed it, brings us to another paradox. How do you survive, let alone thrive, on a food that gives you almost no energy?
And when we say all bamboo, we mean it. Take a look at this. A wild panda's diet is a whopping 99% bamboo. That tiny little 1% left over? Yeah, that might be a small rodent or bird every now and then. Kind of like a little ghost of its meat-eating past. But let's be real, for all intents and purposes, the panda is a straight-up bamboo-eating machine.
So, back to that question. How do you survive on 99% bamboo? Well, the answer is simple. You have to eat an absolutely massive amount of it. We're talking up to 40 pounds, that's about 18 kilos, of bamboo every single day. To try and put that into perspective, imagine a person who weighs 150 pounds eating more than 45 heads of lettuce a day. Not for fun, but just to have enough energy to get by. It's wild. And why so much? Well, remember that carnivore anatomy we talked about? The panda is literally stuck with the short, super inefficient digestive system of its meat-eating ancestors. It's just not built to break down the tough fibers in bamboo, so it absorbs hardly any nutrients. The only possible solution? Eat constantly. We're talking up to 14 hours a day spent just eating. All that effort just to get enough energy to, keep eating. It's a heck of a cycle. Now, this extreme focus on one type of food leads directly to an extreme focus on one type of home. A panda can't just set up shop anywhere. It needs a very specific kind of kingdom, and unfortunately, that kingdom is shrinking and getting more fragile by the day. So what does this kingdom actually look like? Well, forget about vast open plains. Pandas are confined to just a few cool, wet, totally isolated mountain ranges in central China. Think of their bamboo forests as these little green islands floating in a huge sea of human development. And that is the biggest danger of being a specialist. When your one and only food source is in trouble, you're in trouble. As these forests get cleared for farms and cities, the panda's home gets chopped up into smaller and smaller pieces. That makes it way harder to find food and, just as importantly, to find mates. It's especially bad during these weird, rare events where a whole type of bamboo flowers and then dies off all at once. In the past, no big deal. The pandas would just migrate to another forest. But now, a lot of the time, they're just trapped. But this is where the story takes a really remarkable turn. Right when the panda was being pushed to the very edge of extinction because of its specialization, we humans stepped in. And what happened next is one of the greatest conservation success stories in the world.
It all started back in the 1960s with the first nature reserves in China. But by 1990, things were looking really grim. The panda was officially classified as endangered. That was a huge wake-up call. In the 2000s, a massive effort kicked off to expand the protected areas and, crucially, to build corridors to connect those forest islands we talked about, and it started to work. Then, in 2016, came the big news everyone was hoping for. The panda's status was improved to vulnerable. Just a huge, huge victory for conservation. So what do the numbers look like today? Well, we've got around 1,800 pandas living in the wild now, which is a really significant jump from their lowest point. On top of that, there are another 600 or so in captive breeding programs, which act as this vital insurance policy for the species. Don't get me wrong, the population is still small, but the key thing is the trend is heading in the right direction.
And this quote here from the head of the WWF, it just nails it. It perfectly sums up why this worked. The panda was saved because of this powerful three-part combo. You had the science to understand what the animals actually needed, you had the political will to actually create the reserves, and this is so important, you had the local communities who lived there getting involved and engaged. All three had to come together. But, and this is a big but, this incredible success story is also a fragile one.
At the end of the day, the panda's future is still tied to the exact same thing that made it so vulnerable in the first place, its specialization. You can really boil down this specialist's dilemma into 3 simple steps. Step 1, you evolve to become a master of one single food source. For the panda, that was bamboo. Step 2, you do great, you thrive, as long as that food is everywhere. But step 3, that's the trap. When that one food source disappears, you face total collapse. The panda hit step 3, and the only thing that pulled it back from the brink was a massive, coordinated human effort.
So yeah, we saved the panda. It's a truly remarkable achievement, but it leaves us with this much bigger and maybe tougher question, especially on our rapidly changing planet. For any animal that's locked into one type of food in one specific place, how long can a specialist like that really survive in the world we're creating?
All right, today we're going to unpack the anatomy of adorable. We're diving deep into the specific, charming, and, let's be honest, often hilarious habits that have made the giant panda this global icon of pure cuteness.
I mean, it's a huge question, right? For celebrities, for brands, it takes teams of people and millions of dollars to even come close. But then you look at the giant panda, and it just seems effortless. So what is their secret? What's the formula?
And here's the thing, the secret isn't just their fluffy black and white appearance, it's actually woven directly into how they live every single day. So let's get into it. Let's decode the anatomy of adorable.
First up, let's look at the panda's incredibly chill and honestly super relatable lifestyle. It's basically a masterclass in living the good life, and it all revolves around 2 main activities: eating and napping. What's so wild is just how human they look when they do it. A panda doesn't just chow down, it settles in for a meal. They'll sit up, lean back on a tree like it's a comfy armchair, and hold a bamboo stalk with this amazing thing called a pseudo-thumb. It's really a modified wrist bone, but it lets them grip and eat with such focus. Honestly, you could watch it all day. So yeah, they're total creatures of habit and comfort. I mean, can you just picture it? A 200-pound bear that has a usual spot at its favorite bamboo cafe. It's these little details that start to build this incredibly charming personality. And you know what comes after a good meal, right? A good nap. And pandas are absolute masters of relaxation. The best part? They have zero shame about it. You can find them sprawled out on their backs, paws in the air, face planting right in the middle of a snack, or just wedged in the fork of a tree like it's a hammock. They sleep wherever and however they want. It's the kind of life goal we should all have, really.
Okay, so we've covered their super chill side. But don't let that relaxed vibe fool you, because under all that fluff is a seriously playful and surprisingly athletic creature, one that seems to run on pure, simple joy.
This is just pure, unfiltered fun. They'll find a nice grassy or snowy hill and just go for it, tumbling head over heels for what seems like no reason at all other than the thrill of it.
And it's not just rolling downhill. When they get a little excited or maybe even startled, they have this amazing acrobatic streak. Instead of just running off, they might just bust out a backward somersault. It's such a goofy and endearing reaction. And when the snow hits, oh, the game is on. They use snowy hills as their own personal water park, sliding down again and again on their bellies or their backs. It's like they've got a built-in toboggan, and they're going to use it. And you got to remember, we're not talking about a little raccoon here. This is a 200-pound bear climbing up trees like it's no big deal. They do it to nap, to cool off in the summer, or, sometimes just for the fun of it. And sure, sometimes they miss a branch and take a tumble, but with all that thick fur, they pretty much just bounce and get right back up. Okay, so for animals that spend most of their time alone, pandas have some really complex ways of talking to each other. Their methods are fascinating and in one particular case, downright incredible.
So a big way they communicate is through something called scent marking. It's pretty common in the animal world. Think of it like leaving a calling card or, I don't know, a status update for other pandas to find. But pandas, well, they do it with their own unique flair.
Okay, you have to see this to believe it. It's just wild. To make themselves seem bigger and more impressive to other pandas, they'll literally do a handstand against a tree to mark as high up as they possibly can. It shows some serious flexibility and determination, and it is, without a doubt, one of the weirdest and most charming things you will ever see an animal do. Period.
And it's not all about the scent marking either. They've actually got a whole range of sounds they make. They are not the silent bears you might think. You might hear them bleat, kind of like a goat when they want attention, or chirp when they're happy, and even honk when they're trying to find a mate. It's a whole language hidden behind that calm face.
Alright, so we've got the Zen Master, the Surprise Athlete, and the Secret Communicator. But there's one last essential ingredient that really seals the deal: their amazing and completely unintentional gift for comedy. That's really the perfect way to put it. So much of what we love about them comes from these moments of pure, accidental physical comedy. I mean, have you ever seen a baby panda sneeze so hard it does a flip? Or an adult misjudge a jump and just sort of plop onto the ground? Or get hopelessly stuck in a box? Their clumsiness is just a constant source of joy. It makes them feel so much more relatable, you know? Every little mistake becomes pure comedy gold.
So, as we wrap this up, what's the big takeaway? We've seen the panda's charm is this amazing mix of zen-like calm, surprising playfulness, clever communication, and a whole lot of clumsiness. But you know, maybe the real secret is even simpler than all that. In our super complicated world, the panda just reminds us of the joy in the simple things: a good meal, a comfy nap, and a fun roll down a hill. And really, what's more adorable than that?
Okay, let's talk about the giant panda. You see this cute, cuddly bear, right? But what if I told you its whole lifestyle, I mean everything about it, is actually a masterclass in survival against all odds? Today, we're going to uncover the brilliant secret that's hiding behind that seemingly lazy life. Seriously, just imagine for a second. What if your absolute favorite food, the one you could eat all day, every day, gave you practically zero energy? How would you even survive? I mean, how would you even manage to get off the couch?
Well, for the giant panda, that's not just some weird thought experiment. That's its actual daily reality. And the way it has solved this incredible energy crisis, it's honestly one of the most fascinating stories in the entire natural world. So, that brings us right to the heart of the matter, what we're calling the panda's paradox. Because at its core, this animal is, well, it's a walking, breathing, biological contradiction. Okay, so check this out. Here's the fundamental mismatch. On one hand, you've got its body. Biologically, a panda has the gut of a carnivore. We're talking a short, simple digestive tract that's designed to break down meat and high-energy protein. But then you look at its diet, and it's a hardcore herbivore. It eats almost nothing but bamboo, which is super low in nutrients. So the big question is, how on earth does a bear, an animal literally built to eat meat, manage to survive on a plant it can barely even digest? Well, let's dig in and find out. All right, to crack this case, we've got to look at the panda's specialized survival toolkit. Think of it like this. Evolution has handed this bear an incredible set of custom tools, all designed to tackle this one really challenging meal plan. First things first, how do you even hold the food? You know, a typical bear paw is super powerful, right? It's great for walking, climbing, all that stuff. But trying to hold a skinny, slippery bamboo stalk with it, forget about it. It's just too clumsy. You need something way more precise. And the panda's solution is just, it's so elegant.
It's called the pseudo thumb. Now, it's not a real thumb like you and I have. No, it's actually a wrist bone that's evolved over time to become longer, just long enough so it can press a bamboo stalk firmly against its other fingers. A tiny little tweak that was an absolute game changer for this species.
But the special toolkit doesn't stop at the paws. Oh no, the panda's entire head is basically a bamboo crushing machine. We're talking incredibly powerful jaw muscles and these huge flat molars that are perfectly designed to just pulverize those tough, fibrous stalks into something it can actually digest.
And trust me, they need all that specialized gear. Because to get enough calories from bamboo, a single panda has to eat, get this, 20 to 40 pounds of it every single day. That is insane. That can be up to 14 hours a day of doing nothing but eating.
But, having the right tools is only half the battle. What a panda does with its time is just as crucial as what it has. And this is where we uncover its serenity secret.
I mean, if you look at a panda's daily planner, it's almost comically simple. Step 1, eat bamboo. Step 2, conserve energy. Step 3, sleep. And then repeat. But here's the thing, this isn't laziness, not at all. It's a highly calculated strategy in a very high-stakes game of energy conservation.
So what they've done essentially is mastered the art of living life in a permanent low-power mode. It's just like when your smartphone hits 20% and you switch on battery saver mode. The Panda just has that function switched on all the time, just to make it through the day. And the science totally backs this up. A panda's metabolic rate, the speed at which it burns calories just sitting there doing nothing, is only 38% of what you'd expect for a mammal its size. That's one of the lowest metabolisms of any non-hibernating animal. It's like it sips energy. It never ever gulps it.
Okay, so when we start putting all these different pieces of the puzzle together, we begin to see it. The true genius of being quote-unquote lazy.
That's right. What we humans might see as laziness, that slow, deliberate behavior, it's not a character flaw. It's the entire point. It is a brilliant, highly evolved survival strategy. It's a masterclass in efficiency.
So it all clicks into place. It's a perfect equation, really. You've got the physical traits, like the pseudo thumb and those powerful jaws, to maximize the energy coming in, and then you have the behaviors, like moving as little as possible and that super slow metabolism, to minimize the energy going out. It's just a perfectly balanced, genius strategy for survival. And just like that, the Pandas paradox is solved. The secret isn't fighting against its limitations, it's about embracing them completely. This lifestyle, it's not some evolutionary mistake or a dead end. It is a brilliant, totally integrated solution for thriving on what should be an impossible diet. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? In our world that's always demanding more speed, more energy, more everything. What can this absolute master of serenity and efficiency teach us about thriving with exactly what we've been given? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.